right, ladies and gentlemen, fellow decoders around the world, wherever you may be. My name is Logan, your tour guide, and this is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and decoding some more of Dr. Hillman's research. This will be on his book, The Chemical Muse, Drug Use and the Roots of Western Civilization. But kind of the topic behind that is opium. What you're looking at here is a poppy plant, right? The opium plant. So, yes, this is on the Chemical Muse, highlighting more of, where did it go? Highlighting more of Dr. Hillman's Decode. Thanks everybody for watching this, supporting this, providing your feedback. And we're just going to extend upon that with the book. Now, when I did the decode on Hillman, I didn't read the book. I still haven't read the book. But I started to take a look at the book. And it was just really funny because this is an excerpt from the book. Somebody sent me the book via email and told me, hey, you can listen to this on YouTube. There's a person reading it. So I went there and I haven't got into many minutes of it, but the very first beginning point of watching it, there it was. And again, when I did the decode on Hillman, when I did this decode, I mentioned opium, but of course I found it in a different way because I was researching drug addiction in America, all around the world, and the zombie land, which if you're watching this after I've released the zombie land decoded, well, that was how I found the opium and heroin and all the stuff that I was researching, the zombie land decoded. And then of course this pops up after the fact. So I have the publisher here, the book that he recommends. During my tenure as a doctoral student, I found an excellent book on the history of opium published by Thomas Dunn. And of course, then he has the same publisher. No accident there. I mean, that's what I would have done, right? You just go and get the same publisher since you're on the same kind of page. But, that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about. I mean, the publication date, both of those, we're going to talk about that. Wait till I take you on this crazy ride. Get strapped in, get settled in. The ride I'm about to take you on, folks, is really, really crazy. So here are the three topics of conversation for this presentation. The very first topic, opium. The second topic, lutetium. And the third topic, flat iron. The hell's that all about? Well, you're going to find out. I promise you this one will satisfy you just as much as the Eamon Hillman Decoded. Promise you. I promise you it will. And I'm going to show a scripted reality. You're going to see a lot of scripted reality pieces in here. So the first topic, let's talk about opium, right? This has been around for a very long time. As far as back as I can research, Sumerian times. 5,000, 6,000 years ago. But of course, I'm just regurgitating what I found. I'm sure he has it in his book. He has his pieces of it in his book. But is this the head of the snake? So I have a snake here. It has the crown on it. And if you research it, I did it, the average spikes or petals are 10 to 12. And then you have the zodiac wheel there, or the 10 and the say 10. And if you're watching this after I came out with the head of the snake, well, you're gonna start to see this same crossover. But here's the actual name of the plant: Papaver somniferum. It's so interesting because it has the iron right there. Fe is ferrum. It's got the ferrum on the back end. So now you get into the element iron, which is going to get into the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, which is going to get into the blood types because iron is in our blood, and iron's going to give us the lights, camera, action, since the isotope 56 is what iron's all about. It's so interesting when you start studying the etymology. It's in the word, and it's Papa. So we have the 76. We know that's osmium, the Wizard of Osmium. Of course, that's a dead giveaway. But now let's take a look at the numerology brought into the cards of illumination. This is Papavir. This is the 31st card in the deck, the 5 of diamonds. And then the second word, Somniferum, is a 45, and that's the 9 of hearts. And what do we see there? We see the number 59. And, on the fly, I'm just going to go to numerology, and you're going to see that the game of life is 59. Contract with God is 59. 59, and there they are in the cards. And it's the Papa. And we do have iron in the back end here. But we do have, Pandora's box is 45. The 31 was embedded in the Dr. Hillman decode. It was tied all the way to the word serpent, which is Ophis in Greek. That numerology is 69. The 69th card turns into the 31st card. So they're connected directly. The 5 of diamonds. These snakes, man, their skin has diamonds on it. They're diamondback. If you start to study serpents, and here's what they look like in the tarot. So when you ingest opium, it's very addictive. Well, you could see that on one side of it, it's the pleasure drug. That's what it was known for. The happy, the pleasant. But on the flip side, it becomes this, the broken home. It becomes addictive. It becomes where you get so addicted that you lose everything. So, I've watched enough people that are addicted to heroin, morphine, codeine, and the majority of those people say that when you first take it, it feels like your brain has like this warm, amazing sensation, and you just chase that. You don't want to lose that. and it feels the best ever, like the best feeling in the world. But eventually you give up your whole entire life to chase that dragon, as they say. No pun intended, but that's what it is. And this is how amazing the tarot is, that's combined with the English language through the Chaldean, the oldest numerology cipher. Right? Going all the way back to ancient Babylon, perhaps, where Samaria kind of maybe passed off the baton. But there you go. The yin-yang of opium is that you get the pleasure principle. This is Pandora's box. But you also get the yin-yang, the duality, the hard times. A lot of people go to the church when they get addicted to try to find salvation. Of course, that's the way it's set up. Right? The church. He talks, Dr. Hillman's talking all about the church. And there he's saying it was a drug-induced story. Maybe it was. Maybe whatever created this reality is addicted to some kind of drug, and it's Earth. And it's dreaming us up. I don't know. So I get really kind of abstract with this stuff. Here's the reduction of opium, the plant. You get the 4 and the 9. How big these numbers are. We did this on the Scripted Reality 23. It was on Viagra, sildenafil citrate. And Viagra makes the snake get bigger, right? So now you get sex with drugs. That's combined. And there's the 49. And, these two cards are the cards that are linked to Viagra. October 5th was the patent that got issued for Viagra. And March 27th, the 9 of clubs, was the day it was first released to the general public. And you can see the scripted reality, ladies and gentlemen, is you have that 49 right there. I mean, you can't miss it. So this is talking about Viagra, but this is all based on being used in this reality for drug addictions, getting high, religion, sports, anything that is related to euphoria, where you have the serotonin and the euphoria and your brain gets enhanced and now you're on that ride. And it is tied to Ra. Because the 94, or the mirror of that, the 49, sits at digit 15 and 16. And there's the head of the snake and these total digits in the string of the golden ratio, which I've shown countless times now, gives us a total of 88. And now you have Ra being tied to the head of the snake. And remember, when you go, I'm going to do this on the fly. When you go and you look at Ra and you get an image of it, what do we see here? What's on top of its head? Well, you get the falcon head, but you get the sun, obviously. And there's the serpent. There it is. So there's no denying that Ra is tied to the serpent. And Ra is the law of one, and it's the movie. And all of this is part of that. Drugs included, alcohol, anything. But we have the head of the snake. This is 15 and 16, digit 15 and 16, and now you have the eyes to see that. And then the head of the snake becomes the comedy, right? Put that snake back in your trousers. So anyway, I was going through some more of the book, and even he has a chapter on Promethean euphoria. Promethean being tied to Lucifer, being tied to Hades, being tied to the sun, being tied to the underworld. And when the sun goes down into the underworld, now it's taking its place with Set. This is where you're going to get Horus and Set. There it is, man. Page 88. See the connection, folks? This is all connected. So here's the book. Here's the website where you can go listen to it, or the person. And, this is where I got this, this connecting point from. This slide taken from the breakdown and decode of Dr. Hillman itself. And, again, I got the idea, because I hadn't read his book. I got the idea from decoding drug addicts and getting into the zombie land, which you're probably going to see that's out on the channel now. But it's opium, and opium is a big marker for drug addiction. It's one of the biggest. Heroin addiction, opium, codeine, Percocets, Vicodin. I mean, it's just a huge epidemic. People are dying left and right. Now it's getting laced with fentanyl, but that's for a different story. But this right here, according to Dr. Hillman, is where Jesus was the perpetrator for giving Judas a piece of bread dipped in something that is unknown, but clearly there's a big tie-in to a drug. Maybe it's opium. He calls it the purple. But the sap, that's a piece of bread dipped in something. So I try to get the image here so you can get an idea. And this, alludes to the fact that Judas Iscariot didn't have a choice. And neither did Jesus, because Jesus was destined to do it. So allegorical, fictional, non-fictional, if you believe it actually really happened, well then how would you deny predestination? Because this is a story about predestination. Clearly, okay? And and now we have a connecting point to the drugs, which, Hillman really brought out to the forefront. I mean, I never saw that stuff. I mean, I really didn't. This whole thing. Now we have the eyes to see, because this is the time to see it. So you could see that, in the Greek, in the ancient Greek, it's opion, but it's opus, the juice, the latex, the juice of the plant. And here it is right here, So could it be that Judas was given a bread filled with opium or something to that nature, right? And here is the word opus, which is the sap of the latex of the plant, perhaps opium, which has an exact match numerology of the word ophis, which is the word for serpent or snake in the Greek. And you can clearly see there is the yin yang. I mean, if I come all the way back up here, here's the 69th card tied to Papa Ver. Papa, Daddy. Perhaps Jesus, when he says, you are of your father, the devil, in John 8:44, I think it is. All right? So, here's the Sumerian part that I found off ChatGPT. I've doubled up on this just to ensure this was accurate. And again, I'm just basing it on the research of a few different sources, but the Sumerians referred to opium as these two words, Holgil, which translates to the joy or the plan of happiness. So the big takeaway is it gives you euphoria. And again, the question is God on drugs? Like, if you look at it like we are if there is such thing as a creator, is it addicted to earth? Is it addicted to playing out the human being character? Or is it just sitting in front of a remote control and a television screen, whatever that looks like in the as above, and it's smoking opium? And then, how does that look? Am I getting too abstract? Maybe. I'm just trying to have fun with this. As above, so below, right? But the euphoria is tied to the word simulation. The word simulation is a 35, which is the same as this right here, gadolinium. 35. What's gadolinium? It's the 64th element on the periodic table. You're on television. They used to make it for television screens. You come down here and it says it right here. The image reflects the past use of the element in television screens. See, you're on television. That's what this is alluding to. 64 codons on our DNA. 64 possible squares on a chessboard. This is the GD element. Euphoria, simulation. Starting to get the picture of this? And here is the numbers tied to Lucifer, according to Manly P. Hall. Manly P. Hall says the numbers of Lucifer are 7, 4, and 1, and there they are. This is also the number of Ra, 21. If I go to numerology, R is 2, A is 1. Whoops. Ra, 2 and 1, 3. So this name of the joy plan or the plan of happiness, again, ties to the all-seeing eye of Ra, the eye of Shalom Ra. If we're going to look at it this way, if we're going to break it down and decode it. So let's get into the second topic now, lutetium. You notice opium has the IUM on the back end, just like lutetium. What's lutetium? Well, we're going to get to that. And now I'm going to get into the book, the publication date, and I'm going to compare that to the book that he mentions in the very beginning of his book, Thomas Dunn Publishing, written by Martin Booth. This is kind of, I would assume this is why he went to Thomas Dunn Books. But you can see, I'm going to show you a scripted reality. Here it is. Here is January 1st when this book got published, Opium, a History. And then Dr. Hillman's book got published on July 22nd. That can be the 722. We know 22 divided by 7 is pi. We know how big pi is Ra. The subtleties. 2008, 28 is Lucifer. All these numbers are part of the source code. Once you have them memorized, then you don't have to really look too hard. You can see them there. But we have card 52 and card 19. And what happens when you take 52 and 19 and add it up? You get the number 71. What's the number 71 tied to in alchemy? Lutetium. As in Lucifer, Lucy, serpent. Just from the publication dates. So again, now we would postulate, is the publishing company sitting down with being this anal about it to get it out this way? Or is it that it's a mere coincidence? Or is it a scripted reality and we're living through predestination? I think people become aware of it. We're here becoming aware of it, but people have lives to live. They have things to do. And to get it this way, exactly this way, over and over. How many? 500 plus videos showing this now. The lutetium, right? And how about this? When you say the two cards, King of Spades, 6 of Clubs, that becomes a 91. The 91 is protactinium. There's the serpent for the ideograph. To represent protactinium comes from the Greek word protos, which means the first. I already covered this in the breakdown of Dr. Hillman, his channel, and comparing it to Thomas John Ellis. Remember, this is Thomas Dunn Books. Thomas Dunn Books. Have you seen my book, Decode on Thomas Decoded? But anyway, there's the 91 for these two cards of the book he references, and then he comes out with his book. Dr. Hillman does. And when I compared Lady Babylon, his channel, when he started it August 19th, 2022, compared it to Thomas John Ellis, well, you can see not only are they permutations of each other, they both have the 3, the 2, and the 1. November 17th, Thomas John Ellis. Thomas. But they both have that 231, the atomic mass of protactinium. Coincidence? No. Because we solidify that with the full birth certificate name, including his mother's maiden name, Thomas John Ellis Hooper, and we get the 91. So no, it's not a coincidence. And this, we would have to then postulate, I mentioned this, is Hillman like buddies with Thomas John Ellis? Is Thomas John Ellis buddies with Thomas Dunn Books? I mean, is this just everybody in on the conspiracy? And what's the point? No, this to me is the source code. As a coder, when they code out software, well, there's letters, numbers, and symbols that code that out. Okay, there's letters, numbers, and symbols that code that out. In between the August 19th and November 17th is a span of 91 days. Not an accident, ladies and gentlemen. So his name is 91, protactinium meaning the first. The serpents are right there in that circle. This is Thomas John Ellis' birth card, the 3 of clubs, the 16th card in the deck. That's sulfur. That's tied to the tower card, et cetera, et cetera. Why am I missing that? But anyway, that's the Thomas John Ellis connection. That's the 91. And now there's really no doubt about him. He's got Hail Satan here. There's really no doubt about it. And you got to know what Satan means. So let's get into the third topic now, called Flatiron. And we're going to get into the building of where the headquarters are at in New York City for Thomas Dunn Books. Thomas, which is Jesus' twin brother. Now, I know a lot of scholars would say, there's no mention. Well, but it's in the context because people do mention it. So Thomas John Ellis tied to Thomas Dunn Books, the publisher for the Chemical Muse and Opium, a history. And the headquarters is in the Flatiron building in New York City. So you want to see some scripted reality? Here we go. So the Flatiron building, originally the Fuller building, look at the location. The address is 175 Fifth Avenue. See that big fat 175 on that 71st element called lutetium? So now everybody that's involved building this thing, placing the address here, would have to be in on the conspiracy of chemistry, alchemy, all of it, to get one past you. There's so many clues just in this building. There's a tetrahedron here. There's a lot of clues here. 22 stories, 285 feet tall. 285 is the middle path. I'm going to show you the middle path. But 22 stories. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I told you that this was an important way to decode, and I'm going to show you more. We have the 7 colors of the rainbow 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. There's the 49. 94, the 49. Remember the 49? The Papavir, the 4, and then the other word. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's a 4 and a 9. 7 times 7. 77 is iridium. 77 is your eyes. You're the little devil down here. 22 stories. So we see that this one right here sits in the 4th row. in the dead center, the middle, right? Remember, 285 feet tall. If you open up your calculator or dial pad, what sits on the left of 2850? 147. What sits on the right? 369. So 2850 sits in the middle, right? But 22 sits up here. 21's right here. 22 is here. Now, these colors can be violet at the top, red at the bottom. Depends how you want to look at it. It's going to be both because in the chakras, in the system, the most popular system, it's red at the bottom and violet at the top. So they're interchangeable. But you can see how the total address is a 103. And when you go to mathematics, what is the 103? It's a prime number. The 27th prime number. And 27 is tied to Catholic. Huh. It's tied to vampire. Huh. It's tied to religion. It's tied to sports. So many connections with the 27, especially the word currency. That's 27. 27 is going to sit right down here in the indigo spot. Those of you that are the indigo childs, well, you're down here or you would be up here. Depends how you look at it, the perspective. So the address is the 103, which is tied to the 27, and the 27 sits right here in the middle row. You see at the bottom, this is number 28, and there is Lucifer. So Lucifer sits in the middle path, the middle of 3 on the left, 3 on the right, with this 49 grid. I'm telling you, folks, this is magical, this thing. So many clues in here. But you see it reduces down to the number 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. So this is the 4th row. So this row is really, really important, considering that it's 22 stories tall. There's the 22. 22 is titanium. 22 is the total amount of Hebrew alphabet letters. 22. 22 is the letter V. There's a V right here. V. Vanadium, right? And then when you add them up, 22 plus 23 plus 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28, you get 175 again. You go right back to lutetium. So you can see, ladies and gentlemen, as a decoder, I'm not stretching anything at all. I'm not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. I'm not trying to do anything. This is just seamless here. This is easy. So we get it here, and then we get it right here. The address is 175. It's 22 stories. 22 stories. And this row has a total of 175. So it becomes lutetium again. You get Lucifer on the 28 in the bottom. It's really easy to see this. Really, really easy to see this. So now I'm going to take and synchronize the simple numbers 22 through 28, and I'm going to connect it to alchemy. So we have titanium 22, vanadium 23, chromium 24, manganese 25, iron 26, cobalt 27, and nickel 28. And I've given the isotopes in their double-digit fashion, rounding them up, giving you the isotopes, the most abundant isotopes. Look at what's at the bottom. Nickel 60. Nickel 60 sits right here in space 28, and Lucifer's 28. Nickel means devil's copper. That's what it means. Devil's copper. Old Saint Nick. Nickelodeon. Oh yeah, it gets right into the children. Old Saint Nick. Those of you that love your Christmas. But these right here, from titanium, the titans of the earth, the sons of, that's what we're all that. This seemingly is the row of, and again, this is the middle path. You see, this tongue branches out. Essentially, the tongue can branch out to the left and branch out to the right. If you go to how big this is, right? How big of a connection is this? when you take a look at the 49th element called indium, and we know the 49 is tied to the plant. So I want you to get this. I'm going to go back here and we're going to look at the reduction. Whoops. Papaver is 4. Somniferum is 9. 49. Okay? 49 for the plant, for the opium plant, the poppy plant. All right? Of what he's saying in the book, A Chemical Muse, that's where all the stories in the Bible come from. These people were on drugs. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and we're going to look at the 49th element called indium. Look at what it means. Violet. Of course, when you come back here, the 49 sits at the very bottom. Right? The whole bottom row. But ladies and gentlemen, did you see it yet? Look at this icon. You see it right here? It's like a tree. This thing's like a tree. It branches off. And this is the middle path. Right-hand path, left-hand path. This can be your brain right here. This is going to be the pineal gland is, the thalamus, the controllers of the brain. Your right hemisphere and left hemisphere. These are the two left hand and right hand. If you want to extend it out. That's how I think this works. All right, so then when we do the alchemy of all these, the molar mass in science is what it's called. 48, 51, 52, 55, 56, 59, 60, 381. You know what those numbers are, right? Tied to the Phoenix. Tied to the movie. Because 138, when you say it, we are 138. It's lights, camera, action. It's the movie. And everything goes down here in the movie. Right here. But it's barium. The Ra, the Ba, and the Ka. They were taking opium back in the Egyptian days. The Ra, the Ba, and the Ka. And barium is 16, just like the word serpent in English. Just like the word serpent in Hebrew. 16. So it doesn't matter what language came first, who wrote the Bible. It's a Ponzi scheme. Notice that the isotope 138 for barium, look at the abundance of it, the clue. Look at the clue there. 71%. See, so most people, you wouldn't even look at that, but because we have the eyes to see it, there it is. This is all part of the source code. 71%. There it is. 71. This is the middle path. You seeing this now, ladies and gentlemen? Chemistry involved with the simple aspect of looking at the light spectrum. A 7x7 grid. Why would I stop at 7? Because 7's that magic number. 7 chakras. So I'm going to go 7 deep, 7 wide. That's what we're going to do. And we get the barium. And barium is tied to the Tower card. And the Tower card's tied to Shiva. And Shiva's tied to Lucifer. And Lucifer's tied to Jesus. That's why Jesus says, I'm not coming with peace. I'm coming with a sword. And sulfur is 16. I already showed you Thomas John Ellis has the 16th card in the deck. Thomas John Ellis. Thomas done books. You starting to see this, ladies and gentlemen? Sulfur is fire. Hell is 16. Lucifer's name in Isaiah 14 verses 12 is hell. It's hell. That's what it is. Shiva the destroyer. Here it is. Right there. This is death. We know this. Do you mind it? You subtract the 78 cards. This becomes the death card. It's the Tower and death. You positively will die. Over and over and over and over and over again. This is his birth card. Thomas Jones's birth card. This is the serpent, right? This is the snake. Snake is 16 in Hebrew and Chaldean English. There's the snake body. So easy to see this now. And then we do the rules of the cards here. We take the 381 from the molar mass of all 7 of these elements to mesh up with that middle path. We take the 381, we subtract 78 4 times. What we're looking to get is a tarot card to give us the picture. So we got to take the 78, subtract it until we get to 78 or below. I got to do that 4 times. And what number do we get? 69, which is what card? The 5 of Pentacles, which is tied to the snake. See how that works? In numerology now. The snake. The opus, which is the juice from the opium plant. That's what I think it means. Absolutely. Drug-induced situations here. And whatever else went on during that time, I don't know. But there's the juice of the plant. Confirmation, if you ask me. There's the 69th card. So you see, that's why in 13 verses 27, John 13 verses 27, when Judas took the sap or the sop that had whatever drug that was on it, the drug was the opium, and the opium is the devil. That is what gives you the addiction. Now you're under the influence. That's what this is saying, ladies and gentlemen. The tarot card for this tower. We know that now. The head of the snake this is all here now, folks. There's no denying this now. The connections are so strong that now we have and Satan entered into Judas. And Judas didn't have a choice. Neither did Jesus. And now when you take that sap or sop, now you're going to do your evil, wicked deeds. And you're going to be punished for it. That's all this stuff is talking about. I mean, Judas Iscariot in numerology equals 48. 48 is tied to Prometheus. Prometheus' numerology in Greek numerology is 48. So Prometheus is tied to Judas Iscariot. And Judas Iscariot took the sap or sop, which probably had some opium attached to it that Jesus gave him. And now Satan entered into him, which, whatever that means. Right? So we're getting to the tail end of this. Again, now I've laid them across. So we have 7 rows down and we have the 7 across to give us the picture. And it doesn't matter if you put the red on the right or the red on the left. The color green will always be in the center. And it's the middle path. It's the path number 4. And it seems like this is how we become a bag of bones down here. How we become a player is that spirit comes down into the center and descends down the flash of creation. And now we become matter through the green, and we have a birthday. Duality is 20. This is all based upon that. Right? That's all based upon that specific pillar, which was tied to the Flatiron Building, right? So this guy right here, Daniel Burnham, was the architect for the Flatiron Building. Do you want to see his scripted reality? Unless he's in on the big conspiracy. He could be. I don't know if you're somebody who thinks that there's some big, massive conspiracy trying to people pork you, try to get one past you. I don't know what for, but Daniel Burnham. Daniel is 19 in numerology. 19 is tied to radon. Radon is the son of the morning, which is tied to Lucifer, which is a byproduct of radium. What is Daniel's, do I even have his, what is Daniel's birthday? I didn't grab this. Let me just grab it. I don't know why I forgot to. I'll just do it on the fly for all of you. So here's the Flatiron Building. And we're going to go to Daniel Burnham. And what is his birthday? What does that say right there, folks? September 4th. otherwise written 9/4 or 4/9. 4/9 or 9/4. There are 16 total digits, the head of the snake. Born on 9/4. There's 9/4. Seeing the code now? You seeing it? Or the 49? The 49? September 4th is written in the European way like that, the 4/9. This guy who designed the Flatiron building. Yeah, but he's in on a big conspiracy. Try to mock people. Now you're seeing it. Now you're seeing it. And to get to the tail end of this, I'm almost done now. Then I looked at the building itself and who owns it. It's the Sorgenti Group from Italy. They own this building. And here's the guy who is the major shareholder, Walter Manetti or Mainetti. So, what is his birthday? October 28th, 1947. Very interesting because that's Bill Gates' birthday. Bill Gates looks like a snake. His face does. No offense, Bill, but you kind of do. 28 October. And the 28 October card is the 7 of Hearts. And I think this is my last slide. So this 7 of Hearts is the card of the God's remote control. It's a 7, right? We have 7 chakras. How big the number 7 is. And the head of the snake is 60. And in the string of the golden ratio, you got to go 70 digits. There's the 60 digits. 69, which is serpent in Greek. Opus, which is the sap of the opium. 69 and 70. And the total is 325. But the 60 from the head of the snake, when you do the rules of the cards, you subtract the total amount of cards in the deck. There are 52. There's 60s. There's no 60th card, so we have to subtract the 52. And what do we get? We get the number 8. 8 is the prison. 8 is the Taurus field. So it's spirit going down into the Taurus field. And this is the connecting part of the 8 of Hearts. It's the 7 of Hearts, which is the card that is the October 28th day. So like if we go to here, just to show you, here's the month of October, and we scroll down to the 28th. Here's row 28 right here. And there's the 7 of Hearts. Now if I come over here to the cards of illumination, the boilerplate chart, the 7 of Hearts is right here on the master life configuration. Your birth card's going to be in here. Here it is. Sits in the Venus-Mercury line. And the card that is the ruler of that, the master spirit card, is the 8 of Hearts. So the head of the snake is tied to the 8 of Hearts, and the 8 of Hearts, of course, sits here as well, which is the middle path. You see that? The middle path is right here. This middle path is tied to the colors of the rainbow that I just showed you. This being the middle path. And you see that at the bottom is an 8, and at the top is an 8, as in 88. When you add these cards up, you get 226, which is the element Ra. It sits exclusively in the Jupiter line. Zeus, Yao, Yod. Now you get into Gnosticism, you get into the archons, but Jupiter, Zeus, which has the great red spot on it. Zeus being 54, news station 54, and They Live, broadcasting a hypnotic trance. That's how deep this goes. But this dude right here has the 7 of Hearts birth card, which partners with the 8 of Hearts, which is tied to the head of the snake. Coincidence? No way. This is where you're going to get your pentagrams, your upside down and your right side up. This is a 10-sided polygon called a decagon. 10-sided. 10. Say 10. Right there. Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Complete. And I hope that you enjoyed this kind of secondary part of Dr. Hillman's Decoded. But you could see that his story of a drug-induced society has its say, has its place in giving its truth. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly how all these books got written, was people taking and ingesting drugs and, or part of it anyway, and writing stories from it. Because I don't know, I wasn't back then. I don't know, I didn't live back then, but I'm a decoder. And when I see stuff like this, these are my tools. These are your tools. When I see these tools, there's no denying these tools. This, what is 8 and 7? 15. That's the head. See? The head. 15. 8 and 7 is 15. 8 times 7, 56. Lights, camera, action. Right? So now you know. And the 8 is the Taurus field, the prison, which is tied to the sun, which is tied to Ra. And the sun just may be having this dream. And it comes down and becomes human beings. I've got Lucifer pegged to the sun as well. Lucifer's the son of the morning. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, complete. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.